What's up, Knuckleheads? So, got some more stuff for you today. Let's get into it. Gonna start off with some more 70s Calbee. Can't Stop, Won't Stop. I got some more Sadaharu O's in. So, this one, these are all, the O's are all 75, 76, I think. Um, this one might be a 75, but it might be a 76. I always forget. So a classic, nice one of O. This one's real nice condition as well. Um, Clean back, classic batting stance for O. Can still pick these up like fairly cheap. They've raised a little bit the sort of run of the mill. I don't want to say run of the mill because they're not that, but Calbee O cards. I can generally get them for around $10, which is pretty good. They used to be like five, but they kind of doubled. I also got this one. O being, of course, across the board for Calbee's the most expensive player, but that's not certainly not always the case depending on what the card is, but just sort of, in general across the board. So here's another nice one, and this one is very clean as well. Yeah, you got a little bit of grime on the top there, but another clean one. So I just keep stacking O's, man. Uh, this one is probably in the best condition, although the back is a little off center. Back's clean, but as you can see, pretty off center. All right, and then so I've got some other, actually, and then we'll do another giant kind of from the same period, so almost similar numbering, 900. This is 971. And this one is not O, but it is Shozo Doi, and I've talked about him before. If you haven't heard me talk about him before, real quick, well, this is when he was a player. But when Doi was later on, he was the manager of the Oryx Blue Wave when Ichiro was coming up, and he kind of famously, or maybe infamously, did not allow Ichiro to come up for kind of this and that sort of boomer reason. Didn't like his swing. Oh, he's too young. Even though, Ichiro was tearing the minors up and was very clearly outclassing everyone and needed to come up to the big team, but Doi said no, and he was fired. He was not a popular manager, and then as soon as he was fired, the next guy that came in called Ijiro up for good, and the rest is history. But I'm not here to crap on Doi. This is a upside down card of him as a player. And this one, I got this one because this is just I found this, but it's basically a pack fresh card. This might have a chance at a 10 if I graded it. It's just absolutely immaculate. So basically, if they're not 73s, what I mainly look for is just if they're in great condition. Well, and then also if they're in great condition. So this one definitely fits that bill. And then I did get some 73s. These are not for my bat back run, which has pretty much stalled out, maybe indefinitely well, I shouldn't say, for a while. I don't expect to get any more for my bat back run anytime soon, because basically the only cards I need for it are rare Series 2 cards, so I just don't expect to find the ones. I think I need 6 more cards, and I don't expect to find them anytime soon. But in the meantime, I did get some more from the expanded set, the whole set with the flag backs included. And I got number 97. This is a cool card of Sachio Kinugasa. I recently talked about Sachio Kinugasa. This guy is kind of like, you could call him like the Lou Gehrig of Japan, because he has the consecutive games played record. I know there are photos of him with Cal Ripken Jr. This one's pretty clean too, number 97. So this set, starting with card 92, these cards, as I've explained a few times, starting with card 92, you can only get them in flag back. The first 91 cards also come in bat back, but so that's cool. And then I got this one card, a very nice card in very nice condition. This is number 106, and this is Takenouchi for the Lions, and his given name is escaping me. I don't always remember their complete names, but Takenouchi for the Lions, an outfielder, and he had a pretty solid career. I think he hit a couple hundred home runs. He's not a Hall of Famer or anything like that. But this is a cool card. Actually, a little bit about this card. Well, maybe not this card in particular, but so in the 73 Calbee set, there's a few dozen cards in the set that were basically very, very locally released. They were like special local releases, pretty much like at a city level. Um, and therefore, after 50 years, well, they didn't make a lot of them to begin with, and then half a century later, these things are pretty much mythical, and it's almost impossible to get your hands on them. But when these certain cards from the set do pop up, they can go for hundreds of dollars. Um, However, I'm not digressing, but a little bit. So this is not one of those cards. However, a lot of those cards, those super rare short printed local releases, were of Lions players. And so sometimes I will see, and while this is not, I wouldn't say this is a super common card or but it's not a rare card. Um, but I sometimes see this card sort of ridiculously priced sometimes when it pops up. And I don't know if that's just someone who might be uninformed and they thought, well, every 73 Lions card is like one of those super rare ones. It's not. Or they do know better and they're just being sneaky and trying to. But yeah, so I do sometimes see this card like priced way higher than it should be, because it's not one of the super duper rare Lions cards. So I will say that um, this might sound remarkable to you, but I do believe because of those super rare cards, uh, and there are a few dozen of them. So the thing about it is like there are a few dozen of them, and they are part of the base set. They're part of the base set. They are numbered like any other card within the set. They're not marked specially or anything. So with all of that in mind, like I think 73 Calbee might be like money's not an issue. Like if money's not an issue to you, it might be the hardest baseball card set to complete. Period. Like I'm not kidding. Like it might actually be the hardest vintage baseball card set. It's 360 something cards, and think about this. Like a few dozen of the cards are these super short printed, hyper localized releases that a half a century later are almost mythical and you can't get your hands on them. And when they pop up, they go for like hundreds of dollars. And there are a few hundred. I'm sorry, there are a few dozen of those. So if you do happen to find one, you're probably going to have to spend a couple few $100s, and there are a few dozen of them. So like it really is. I mean, it wouldn't be the most expensive set even if you did manage to, because of course like T206, the Wagner and stuff is millions. So it wouldn't approach that level monetarily, but it is harder than T206 to complete for sure. It's like if you're a bajillionaire, you can complete T206. Like it's gonna be a considerable challenge, especially with those few cards that like people say if you don't have the Wagner and what's the other one, the Plank. then you still have a complete set. It's like, what? That's not a complete set. What are you, sorry. I'm digressing, but I think that's so silly how, like, in the hobby, it's like T206 is considered complete if you don't have, no, it's not. You don't have a complete set. You don't have the Wagner, you don't have the complete set. But anyway, so yeah, there's that. 73 Calbee, probably not hyperbole, the most difficult vintage baseball set to complete, period. And then I have another one from the set, and this is number 192. And this is Hiromu Matsuoka, and he was a pitcher for the Yakult Atoms. And Hiromu Matsuoka was a pretty solid pitcher. He actually won the Sawamura Award, which is like Japan's Cy Young. I believe he won that in 1978. So the Yakult Atoms, at least at this time, would later be the Yakult Swallows, which they are today. This is kind of Tokyo's other team, the Giants being the main attraction, and the Yakult, now Yakult Swallows, are kind of Tokyo's other team. So, but back then, they were the Yakult Atoms, and actually, it's hard. It's pretty much impossible to see on this card. But if you can make it out there in the Yakult logo there, the little figure up there is actually. I don't know if you guys are aware of the anime Astro Boy, the comic and the anime Astro Boy. It's this super, from the 60s, from Osamu Tezuka. He's like a really like legendary manga author. But it's called Astro Boy, but in Japan, he's called Mighty Atom. He's not called Astro Boy. They just have different names, but he's actually at least one of the mascots for the team, which was pretty cool. And actually, I know there's some of these. It's Atoms, or maybe it's the Atoms when they're under a different corporate ownership. But man, these guys had some drip, man. I've seen some of their uniforms with like Astro Boy on them. I'm like, man, I want one of those. I think what's that company? Ebbets Field Flannels. I'm pretty sure they've made some, but they're expensive, so I'd rather buy cards. All right, and then finally, let's do some modern. Start off with this blazer that I pulled. So this is from the recently released Topps Chrome MPB. And I got quite a hit, actually. I pulled this. So this is the orange refractor of Hayato Sakamoto for the Yomiuri Giants. And Hayato Sakamoto is the Giants' longtime shortstop. He's a superstar, and at this point he's old. He's in his mid-30s, so he is one of those guys where it's like, well, you'll never see him in the majors, and that's too bad. But so he will be likely played his entire career in Japan guy, which is cool. But long-time great player. He's a legend for the team. And I mean, this card is just crazy. Color match, the orange refractor. The picture is awesome. I really like that picture. It's kind of almost like 52 Mantley, right? Like the way he's kind of looking up. So anyway, that was very thrilling to pull this, even though it is the hated Giants. It is my favorite team, the Tigers, arch rivals. This card's still a banger, so I was happy to pull that. And then I've got a couple more modern ones. So I got this autograph. And this autograph is of my aforementioned favorite team, the Tigers. And this is Koyo Aoyagi. Koyo Aoyagi is a sidearm pitcher. He's a starting pitcher. And actually, Aoyagi might be coming to an MLB team near you. I was pretty shocked actually to learn that he might be coming to the major leagues, or he was posted. I forget if he's posted or a free agent. To be honest with you, I'm a little skeptical about Aoyagi coming to the major leagues. Does not have a high velo fastball, is not a strikeout guy. I'm a little skeptical that he can be super successful in the major leagues, but hey, I'm rooting for him. So I am definitely watching with intrigue to see which team, if any, Aoyagi lands on. Um, yeah, so you might be having a Japanese sidearm pitcher coming to your team. I doubt he'll get too much money. And probably I guess what's exciting about it is that he could probably go to just about any team, right? It's not just going to be the big stars that have you have the same five teams or whatever that fight over him and sign him to huge contracts and stuff. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Koyo Aoyagi. And then I got a couple more here. This one is a Diamond Heroes Hideki Matsui. I actually have the Ichiro of this. This like kind of like I guess what is this like Dufex, and this explosion background is awesome. So I picked up the Matsui, found the Matsui to go with my Ichiro. Should have dug out my Ichiro for this video, but oh well. And then finally, I have another Sadaharu Oh, and this one I was pleased to just sort of find in a box. I forgot I had it, and I don't know what it was doing in the box. It's an O card, so maybe by mistake. But this is from Diamond Heroes to 97 Diamond Heroes, all the way back in 97. And this is O, a checklist, but it shows O as the manager of the then Daiei Hawks. But the Hawks, so nice manager card of O. And that's what I've got for you guys today. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.